Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the drill partner is perfect for you.
I am pumped up for this one. Although if I'm
Yeah,
being honest with you, Mike,
let's
I'm going
go.
to start off a little tilted like usual because when I saw yesterday the Reyes Cup captain's announcement, I was a little disappointed because I thought my man from Wisconsin or from Chicago actually had a chance on making it in. So maybe it wasn't this year, Mike. But maybe
Captain, they can't. No, they don't want that smoke.
yeah.
That team would not
Yeah.
be able to handle the rigors of being under my
Let
leadership.
me ask you this, Mike. What would be more expensive, like the dinner bill they get or the appearance fee? Because I know it'd be a little close. You know what I mean?
I'd probably trade off the appearance fee for unlimited dinner bills.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Well,
I'll just send you my bills and we'll call it
you
even.
hear that, Emily? I'm sure she's watching whatever plane she's on, wherever she's at. So I'm pumped for this show, Mike. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Reyes Cup captains got announced yesterday, like I
Yeah,
mentioned. Perry Open is in full swing. It seems like it's U.S. Open 2.0 in terms of like the depth of the field, and it's been that way for a couple of years now. So
yeah, what a field!
they're down to 64,
What a
Mike.
field!
So I'm excited to jump on into that. And then we also got a guest who I've been trying to get on for a little bit now. Listen, I love hearing stories about players' journeys, Mike. And you got a chance to meet up with this young man. Let me go ahead and bring him on in, and then we'll just jump on into it. Jesus Atencio, I think he's back here in the States now. Jesus, walk. Oh, if you can, Jesus, rotate
Uh,
your camera for me. I don't know why it might have shifted.
yeah.
It's all right. The show's called Dogging It for a reason, my man.
Or stand on your head.
There we go. Oh,
Yep.
maybe there it is. There it is. Now we're
There
Okay.
we go.
good. Welcome to the show, Jesus. How are you?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm good.
yeah.
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing all right, man.
It's tough having to teach all these young kids
I
technology,
know.
isn't
Yeah.
it,
I
Mike?
know.
All
Yeah.
right.
I remember when I was young, my mom would ask me like to set up the cable on the VCR and all that shit, and I thought, how do you not know how to do things? And now, as like technology's evolved, now I'm my mom and my daughters are me. You know what I mean? Where they're teaching me how to do things. So it's a part of life. But anyhow, Jesus, I would say welcome back to the show. But we've never had you on that I can think of. Where are you out of these days?
I'm in home right now, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Having fun with my family. Spending time. Because November I have a full schedule. I have three events. The first one it's in Jacksonville, WNT tournament, from the 6th to the 9th. And then after that, I gotta go to Classic Billiard for the um, Classic Golden Flamingo Cup. Three players from South America against three players from Spain. And then after that, I gotta go to
Oh,
the
nice.
International Open.
I, I
Well,
want
what events are you playing in the International
Yep.
Open? What events are you going to play there? Are you
Nine
playing
ball,
in the
just a
one
nine
pocket
ball.
or the straight ball? Or just
Why
okay,
not the one pocket? I seen you at
okay.
Derby play one pocket before. You got like one of those sneaky Jason Shaw type style one
I
pocket
got
games,
lucky.
dude.
I got lucky.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really like one pocket, but definitely I wanna learn the game because to be the
It'll
best, you
help.
have to play everything.
Yeah,
We hadn't seen you
yeah.
in a little bit, Jesus, until the Florida Open recently, where you kind of just put your stamp back on the map. It seems like. Tell me what that experience was like for you, jumping back into a matchroom arena, and what the last like 45 days has been like for you.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite tournaments so far. Uh, because I bring my family to the tournament, my parents, my wife, and my daughter. So I was so excited to play in front of them. And I play pool for 21 years already, and that was one of the best moments in my career. Um, just to have my family on the crown, and you know was a really special tournament for me. I mean, I beat good players like Federer, Earl Strickland, and I finished in the last 16,
17, yeah.
yeah, 17, yeah. So I was really happy. I was spending time with my daughter. She's the love of my life, and that's why I feel like I play that way. I was enjoying the game. I was having fun, and I was really happy, to be honest.
How old is your daughter and what's her name?
Yeah.
1 year,
1 year.
Michaela.
That's a
Yeah,
beautiful name. It's a
yeah.
beautiful name.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
Yeah.
man. That's
thank
awesome.
you,
What
thank you.
I'm sure it's a different dynamic when you got the family around, but talk to me about the pressure of like having them all there. Listen, our people are like a little fiery, a little passionate, a little loud sometimes, so
Yeah, at the beginning, I was having pressure because you want to do your best because you have your family.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, I was talking with myself, and actually, I talked with my wife about that. After my first match, because I was shaking.
Yeah.
And But yeah, I mean, we talk about everything, and she always asks me how I feel. How I feel when I play. If I have fun when I play pool, and I tell her that I was really happy because to play in front of your family. I mean, I love my family, and they're the best thing for me.
Yeah.
Of course, I have my sponsor and all the support, but my family is it's first. And you know I was living my dreams. So that was, like I say, that was one of the best moments in my career, and also in my life, because a lot of people know that I stopped playing for 2 years. And to come back and play in a matchroom event, a major event. It's a lot of pressure, because all the world is watching the tournament, all the sponsors, everybody on the venue. So that was a lot of pressure, but uh I find a way to control my emotions, and to keep the pressure, uh to put it on a different way. At the same time, i
Yeah.
was i was having pressure, and I was shaking, but I was trying to have fun when I was playing. So that was a pretty nice tournament for me.
What do you got, Mike?
Yeah, you actually finished ninth through 16th in Florida,
Yeah.
tied for ninth, which was great.
Yeah.
Um, and I've talked to several players, during the match, to try to calm yourself down when you're feeling pressure. Do you think about your daughter?
Yeah, always, always. Every
I've talked to
time.
so many
Yeah,
players
every time
who do that.
I was in pressure in that tournament. I mean, since I got my daughter, my mind changed a lot. And every time I
Yeah,
have pressure, or every time I feel sad, or I have any problem, I always think about my daughter, because she's the reason that I start playing again after
yeah,
when I quit for 2 years. She's the
yeah.
reason that I
Why do
start
you
playing pool again.
why do you say that?
Because I was, when I quit, because I know a lot of people have that question, and I'm really open to answer the question. Uh, when I quit for 2 years, I was in a bad moment in my life. I was having a personal problems, and then I started working. I started helping my family, and trying to do something different, because my mind was not in a pool table. And
Yeah.
even that I was trying to fight with my mind, like, I want to play pool because I love pool for me. It's everything. And I was feeling so sad, because I talked with my mom. uh about this, back to 2 years ago, and she was
Mhm.
asking me every day, "Hey, son, when you going to play pool again?" So that question for me was, I not even sleep well in those days because to see my family, asking me that question, and I was not focused on the game, and that's why I started working. I was trying, doing something different, and then I remember um, when my daughters when she burned,
Yeah.
uh, I tell my wife, I'm ready, and she was like, "What do you mean? I'm
That's a good
ready. I'm
time. That's a good.
yeah,
That's a good
yeah,
time. What? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah." I tell her because the first time when I see my daughter in my hands, uh, everything changed, and I tell her, "Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to play pool again." And she was like, "Are you serious?" "Yeah, I'm ready. I want to play. I want to play, and I want to start practice again, and I want to play a major event." And I remember I was in Puerto Rico, and the first tournament that I played was the Puerto Rico Open, the Medalla Light.
Rico Open, yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I bring her and my daughter, and I remember I played my first match, and I was so nervous. Like I cannot even explain I was feeling that day, and then I tell her, "Hey, I'm scared. I'm scared to play." And she was like, "Why? You already have the experience." And I was like, "Yeah, I know I have the experience, but I stopped playing for 2 years, and those players they never stop. They play around the world every time. They travel every day, so I don't do that, for 2 years, and I know it's normal, you know, but at the end of the day, I have fun at that tournament, and I was so happy just to see my daughter, in my corner. Like I say, she's everything, she's the love of my life, and that's the reason that I play pool again, because of her. And that's why I'm doing all this, because in the future, uh I'm gonna see her proud of her dad, you know
Yeah,
so
I'm sure she will. I'm sure she. Yeah.
yep.
As one father to another, I can tell you, like they don't the beautiful one of the many beautiful parts about having kids, and especially girls, is that like they just love you unconditionally. It doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
like whether you're struggling and they know just to give you a hug, or when you're doing well and you just got smile from ear to ear, they're gonna love you the same, and it's great. And last night I had this like real heartfelt talk with my girls because I've been struggling with them lately, and they're a pain in my ass sometimes, but Lord, do I love them, And
Mm-hmm.
but it gets better even, and once you get past the diaper phase, it gets a whole lot better, my man. So just
Yeah.
hang on tight, you know what I mean? And once you start potty training and all those things, it certainly gets a whole
Yeah,
lot
and
easier
also,
after that.
when I was talking with my parents the other day, like I told them that I understand why they always, when I was kid, why they
Yeah,
always tell me, "Hey, go this way, don't go this way, do this, don't do this." But
yeah,
when you're a kid, you don't understand. Like you
right,
don't care.
yeah,
You just want to do your things. So
yeah.
now that I'm that, I understand, so many things, and I changed my mind. My daughter changed my life also,
Yeah.
and like right now, mm, I'm really focused on my career. I just want to play pool. I want to do my best, like always, and I feel like I'm in the good moment,
Yeah.
and the way I'm playing right now, my confidence is it's high, and I'm ready to play pool.
Let's talk about
So
Florida for 1 second, Jesus, because
Hmm.
you went from Puerto Rico to playing in Florida. It was your first matchroom event in quite some time. What was that experience like for you? Like, I know you mentioned your family and all these things, but
Yeah.
like in terms of the exposure and getting sucked into that, matchroom vacuum. What was
Hmm.
that like for you? Like, did you expect it? Were you surprised,
Well,
scared?
I was, I was surprised the way I play on the Florida Open, to be honest, because I remember after I played the Florida Open, I come back home for 5 days, and then I was watching all my matches because I don't know why, but uh, I think I play 4 times on the main table
Yeah,
on the live street. Yeah, live street table on the Florida Open.
which is
So
crazy, by the way. Unless
yeah,
you're
yeah,
SC or Federer, it's very
yeah.
hard to get four matches in a major on a TV
Mm-hmm.
table.
Yeah. So I was lucky to play on the main table, and then when I was here at home, I was watching all my matches, and I was uh I see so many difference. The way I was playing that tournament compare, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So the way I was thinking on the table, the way I was walking around the table, also, I was looking different, and I'm not even practice that. So I was,
so did you
yeah,
surprise
yeah, I was
yourself?
surprised to myself
Yeah.
because I was, when you're a kid, you have so many dreams, and when you watch all those top players on the big tournaments, you want to play like them. You want to play. You want to look professional. So that's the way I was looking on the Florida Open, and I was surprised because I not even expect to play that way, to be honest. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
after that, I played the U.S. Open, and I was alone. I made some good friends at the U.S. Open from Puerto Rico. They travel from Puerto Rico to the U.S.
Yeah.
Open to watch my games. So they're a good friend of mine, and I want to say hi to Eric and Wilson Chaparro. So they're really good friends. So I was at the beginning I was alone, but after I meet them, they will support me all my matches, and I feel like after the Florida Open, after my performance, Matchroom put me on the live stream table in all my
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah.
So I remember the first match. I never checked the draw. I don't like to see the draw. I don't like to see my opponent. Yeah, I don't
You
like
sound like
that. You know what I mean?
you sound like a pool player for sure. Because a
Yeah,
lot a lot would say the
I
same
don't.
thing.
I don't really like that. So my wife, she always check the draw, and she always tell me, "Hey, you gotta play at 2 p.m. You gotta play at this time, or you gotta play against this player." So uh when I was there, I checked the draw. I don't know why, but I was like, let me see what time I play. So when I checked the draw, I see my name against an American player on the table one. And I was like, table one, that means main table.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was trying to find the guy because most of the times when you play on the main table, it's against top players like Gors, SBB,
Yeah.
Aloysius Jab. So I was like, no, they put me on the main table because of me,
Yeah.
you know,
Because of
yeah,
you.
Yeah.
because of me. And I was so excited. And then I called my family, I called my parents, I called my wife, and I was like, guys, I'm going to play on the main table. And that was one of my dream because for us to play on the US Open is one of the big tournaments that we have a year. So and the arena it's completely different, compare Florida Open or another tournament. So
Yeah,
I was
big.
so
Yeah.
excited when I see the arena, and I was that match, I was not under pressure because I was enjoying my moment.
Yeah.
So I played good and the first match, and then the second match they put me on the main table again, and I
Yeah.
was like, why? Like, yeah, because you're trying to understand what's the reason that, because
Yeah.
normally it's hard to play back to back on the same table.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I remember that I play like four times, like I think four times on the main table, and also I play on the table two, and on the table four. So those was on the live stream table. So the difference between
Yeah.
table two or table three or table four, compare the main table, the way the table play is different. I love to play on the main
Yeah.
table, because it's warm. So it's like you feel good to play on the main table. So the other tables they play different. Uh but yeah, definitely I enjoy my tournament at the US Open. And I was, like I said before, my confidence was really high, and I was having fun with my friends from Puerto Rico. And at the end of the day, when I lost against Michael Buanan from Philippines, I was a little sad because the way he beat me, that was the same way I lost against John Mora at the Florida Open. I was on the hill 9-5. So that was the same history, the same way. I miss one time with both players, and at the end they beat me, and I was a little sad, to be honest, because I was expecting to go deep on both tournaments, because the way I was playing. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to understand. You have to. I mean, I'm one of the person that I believe that everything happened for a reason. And God time, it's perfect. So I was
What
talking with myself, like because when you're on the hill, you need just one game, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
winner break. Everything can happen. You can break, you can scratch on the break, or you can make mistake. But after I miss the against Michael, I missed the 5 ball, and against John Moore, I missed the 4 ball. So that was like a routine shot.
Yeah.
And after that, I never had a chance to to
No.
to
Was
win
it like
the
a
game.
was it a different level of pressure you feel like given the spot of the tournament and the players that you were playing against?
No, not really. Uh, I remember when I missed 5 ball against Michael, I was 8-4. I was up 8-4, and that was to go to the hill, and I missed the 5 ball, and I was in the share. I remember that I was talking with myself. I was like, Jesus, why you missed that one? You can lose. You can lose the match.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah.
that ball. And I was, because when you there, so many things um happen on your mind. Like
Yeah.
your mind talk to you. So I was like, to trying to stay focused on the game, and I was waiting for my chance. But he plays so good. I have to give his credit, because he's a phenomenal player. And I mean, both John
Yeah.
Mora too. They both beat me really good, and I was I was upset, but at the same time, I was happy with my performance because I do my best.
What
So,
Yeah.
what's it
Yeah.
like being like one of the first showcase Latin American players on a matchroom stage? Because that doesn't happen. You don't see
mhm,
that at all, and you really have to be one of those secondary players playing against a top tier player in order to get that opportunity. But then to, go and beat Federer in that spot in Florida, and then to get more opportunities like,
Yeah.
what was Matchroom telling you? What was Emily telling you? Were they, and what does the future look like for you in terms of that relationship?
Uh, well, I see Emily for the first time like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I mean, we never talked.
Right.
We never talked. So after Florida, uh, she was watching all my matches. I mean, I guess she was, uh, you know, she was having fun with the crown because in Florida, so many uh, uh, Latin America
Yeah.
people. So
Okay.
I guess
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was having fun with the crown, and she talked to me, like she say, "Hey, congratulations, you played great, you look fantastic on the main table. Look the crown, look the social media. A lot of people is talking about you, and I was surprised because you know normally you always see like Asian players, Europeans, Americans, but it's hard to see uh Latin American players. And I mean,
Yeah.
we have a lot of talent in Latin America. We have players like Jerson Martinez, we have players like
Yeah.
Christopher Tevez,
Yeah.
you know
World 10 ball
and they,
finalist.
yeah, he,
Yeah.
he lost in the finals against a
Yeah.
Poland guy. So
Yeah.
we have the talent to be there, which is sometimes we need the opportunity to play on the main
Yeah.
table or to go deep on that kind of tournaments. But definitely we have the talent, we
But
have
Well, it's
the
it's crazy
level.
because like it's one thing to get the opportunity, but then it's another thing to take
Hmm.
advantage of the opportunity.
Hmm.
And there's a
Yeah.
lot of players that
Yeah.
when they work just hard enough to be able to get on that stage, and then they'll shit the bed, or they'll just play flat or whatever. And parlayed that into some pretty great experiences out there, and it's awesome to see, man. As a fan, and like your skill set, the way you play, how exciting you are. I've said for years I thought you were the second best jumper in the world behind Federer, and that's just one part of it. You know what I mean? Like you got a
Yeah.
really great all around game. Talk to me about. Um, I know you're here in the States, but you're from Venezuela. Any
Yeah.
plans to get your green card, and any potential hopes to maybe play for Team USA? Because we could use a little bit of help these days. I know Mike doesn't want to admit it, but we need
Here we go.
we could use
Here
a
we
little bit
go.
of help.
Yeah.
If you need any letters of
Yeah,
Yeah.
recommendation, let me
Yeah.
know.
Well, I always call, when I talk about my girl, I always say my wife. But next week, it's my wedding.
nice.
So yeah. So after that, I gotta wait at least 4 to 5 months to get my green card. And then whenever I
Let's
have my
fucking
green
go.
card, yeah, whenever I have my green card, I can start traveling and playing all the matchroom events, and I can compete, with all the American players to get the points for the Mosconi Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of my big dreams to represent United States on the Mosconi Cup. And I'm really happy that I born on Venezuela. That's my country, but
Right.
this country give me the opportunity and to do what I do, to
Right.
play pool, and
Yeah.
to get my sponsors, to get a better life, because
It's
my
American
country
dream, man.
get yeah, my
Yeah.
country, it's not really good, so many problems. And if I can represent United States on the Mosconi Cup, will be my pleasure, and it's an honor to be on the same team with guys like Federer, SVB, Skyler, Billy Thor. Oscar
Yeah.
Dominguez. So
Well,
if I can be there, uh, it will be really good.
So after you get your green card, will you be trying to go for
Yeah, yeah,
citizenship?
but I have to wait 2 years. I have to be married for two
Yeah,
years, and then I can apply for the
apply
US.
for
Yeah,
citizenship.
I want to touch base with you on
Yeah,
that 3 versus 3 matchup you got coming up at Classic Billiards because I think it's a great style tournament. I think
yeah.
and I know on paper your team may be up against it, but you mentioned Gerson. He's a fucking monster. He breaks so
Yeah.
good and he's got a lot of heart. Tevez
Mm-hmm.
is very well seasoned, but you guys are up against it against the Spaniards with Jonas and David and
Yeah,
Fran.
FSR. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how excited are you for that
I,
challenge?
I mean, when I got a call from Classic, and they tell me about this event, I was so excited. Because they think on me, to put me on the team. So I was so excited, and also I have a teammates in that event that
Mira,
they're
mira.
strong players.
We got shit talking
FSR.
already. We got shit talking already in the chat from Fran. He says you got no chance.
they're
What did
already
he say? What did he
he,
say?
he said you got no chance.
obviously.
Let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see.
yeah,
They have
yeah,
no chance, he say.
yeah, yeah,
No, he's my teammate also, from QTech. We
yeah.
are on the same team, and we have a nice relationship. We are good friends, and I hope he can win the tournament on Vietnam. I think he's still on the tournament.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's a great tournament, especially for us, for Latin America.
Agreed.
Because if we beat them, I mean, we don't know. Maybe the next one it's against America, or maybe against Europe, maybe against Asia. I mean, we never know
Yeah.
what's the plan
yeah,
for Classic. But definitely Dave is the owner of Classic Billiard. He's a he's a great guy, and he's doing so many great things. Um,
Yeah.
Christopher,
Yeah.
he say saludos. So yeah, I mean, he's doing great things, especially for Latin American players. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that I'm in the same team in Classic. And we have Jerson, we have Christopher, we have a bunch of players sponsored by Classic. And I'm really glad that I can be part of this show, and I hope we can beat Spain,
Well,
because like I said before, we have the talent, we have the level, we
absolutely.
are hungry, we are hungry, and we are ready. And I know they're ready too, but let's see what happened.
The one thing I love about Latin American players, and it's similar to the Filipinos, is that they take so much pride in
Yeah,
performing, and competing,
yeah.
and so and that is second to none, in terms of
Mm-hmm.
that passion and what you guys feel as far as battling on the table. So there's very few events that I get genuinely excited to watch these days because kind of been there and done that in terms of seeing all things in pool, but that one I'm especially looking forward to. Jesus, I know you mentioned your family a bunch of times and your sponsors, and you got a great support system. Talk to me about the other sponsors real quick before we get you out of here, who have helped you out
uh
over the last time competing again.
yeah, after my performance in both events, you know in the past 2 months, 3 months, so many great things happened in my career. And I gotta say thanks, first, to Jason Weir. um he's an excellent guy. He's
He's top
you
shelf.
know yeah, he's
Yeah,
great. He's
yeah,
great, and I have to say thanks to him for all he's doing in my career. And he was the first one that he asked me to sponsor me He got a golf car company. This one, Lux.
Lux. Yeah, let me see if I can turn
Lux.
off this.
Yeah,
See if I can
yeah,
turn this off for a second here. Go ahead, Jesus.
yeah. Lux.
There you go.
So he's one of my sponsors, and after that, Q Tech. I have to say thanks to him also because he worked so hard uh, for me to uh, to get the sponsorship, and also to Brett
Yeah.
from Q Tech and SBB also, and the whole Q Tech team. I have to say thanks to them,
Yeah.
and it's a pleasure to be on the team because that was one of my dream to be on the same team with SBB because he's my idol, he's the best player for me, and to be on the same team with him, you know it's a dream come true, and that's why I always say dream come true, and don't stop dreaming
Amen to that.
because everything is possible if you work hard, if you put if you have discipline, if you can do whatever you want,
Yeah.
but you have to believe in yourself. So, but yeah, I have Lux, I have Q Tech, I have also Onboard. That's one of my new sponsor. So thanks to Onboard for giving me this opportunity to be on the team. Also, I have Action Palace.
Spike.
Uh, Michael Chapo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's one
Good
of my
guy.
sponsor. Yeah. Okay, I mentioned Q Tech Lux.
Perimeter.
Action. Yeah,
I got a list
perimeter.
it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
perimeter light.
Perimeter. Yeah, perimeter lighting. That's one of my sponsors. So thanks to him for giving me this opportunity. I have who else? I have six sponsors, but
Uh,
it's crazy because they
Yeah.
come
Here we go. Pro
at the same
Pro
time.
Pro Fitment Billiard
Classic.
Solutions.
Yeah, Cliff is he's my other sponsor. Thanks to him, and him and Jason. They're good friends, and they talk about me. So he gave me the chance to represent his company also. And Classic Billiard, he's
Yeah.
one of my sponsor, and they help me a lot, and I'm proud to represent Billiard Classic and in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. So that's the best pool hall
Yeah.
in South Florida. Classic Billiard.
All right. I want to get you out of here real quick because Brett would kill me if
All
I don't
right,
make mention of it. What's the cue you're playing with right now?
SVB,
Gen
SVB.
2?
Yeah, Gen 2. This one right here.
All right, there you go. Pretty sleek looking. There you go.
Yeah,
They say you're a real stickler about your equipment, that you're really
yeah.
really
I'm
particular.
really picky with my stuff. So I talked to Brad about this, and he gave me the chance to use the SBBQ because for me it's a special to use SBBQ. So I'm really happy that I can use that queue.
Well, Jesus, we appreciate your
Yeah.
time, man. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're gonna get you
Thank you
out of here because we
guys.
got to hop on a couple of other things. But
Yeah,
uh, all the best in terms of success and especially being a dad, man. Congratulations on that, on your
thank you
upcoming
guys. Thank
on
you.
your upcoming
Thank
wedding
you.
as well.
That
Uh,
means a lot to me.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Congratulations
Mike,
on your wedding.
also for
Yeah.
being here on the live stream, and thank you, Molina, for giving me the chance to be on your live stream. That means a lot
yeah,
to me, and I hope everybody can see this live stream and
yeah.
everybody can support Latin American players.
Hey, one more thing, I want to get you and Fran on before that event in November out there in Classic. All right, so let's make that happen as well. 'Cause
Okay.
it's gonna be a great event. But anyway, good
All
luck,
right.
much
Thank you.
appreciated, and thanks so much for your time, my man.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Bye
Sure, Jesus.
bye. Mike, we've interviewed a lot of players before, and there's some where I get like a little nervous as far as how it's gonna go. And I've interviewed and I'm not gonna throw out your names, but there's some players where like they'll just give me one word answers, and I'm like, fuck, man, But like Jesus came with so much passion and so much enthusiasm, and he was
Yeah,
so
well,
genuinely excited to
he's
talk about his story.
yeah, and you can tell that he's found his purpose and he's found his reason for, he's always loved pool, but now he's found his reason for really getting back into it. And you can tell sometimes when you're away from something, you realize how much you miss it or how much it means to you,
Yeah.
or you get new incentive. It's almost like starting all over again. And you can kind of hear that in his voice and see that in his eyes, that he's like, okay, I've kind of gotten this second chance to take a run at this, and I'm really devoted to it. And I'm sure, I wanted to ask him a little bit about how tough it must be for him not being able to travel. It's the same thing with like Vitaly Petsura.
Yeah.
Well, sitting there and watching these guys play in Vietnam and Hanoi Open or in the World 10 Ball Championship and thinking, damn, I want to be there. So I hope everything goes really well and quickly with him as far as getting his green card and then getting whatever visa or American citizenship he needs to be able to travel around the world and compete with these guys on a regular basis, because he's got the talent, and you want to see him. You want to see him in that arena.
I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think that kid's got world championship pedigree written all over him. I think he's got that kind of game, and I was already a fan before. Obviously, him being Latin American, there's like a soft spot when it comes to players like that for me personally, Mike. But his game by itself, like if you just take that in a vacuum, has got that same skill set as like A1 type talent. He just has to go out there and cut his teeth and continue to stack up wins against monsters, and more opportunities are going to continue to come for that young man. It's well deserved. And the best part about it, I didn't know he was a dad and going to get married, man. That's so awesome, man.
Yeah. No, he's talked about that a little bit in the past, and how much that drove him, to do better. And like I said, I've talked to 2 or 3 players that, have young children, and they're like, when I feel like I'm under pressure, all I got to do is picture my daughter, picture my son, and everything's better. And so you see this kind of new outlook on what you're doing and why you're doing it. Okay, you're just not an 18-year-old who wants to go gamble because you like money and you like playing at 2:00 in the morning against somebody. Whatever, it's a different purpose, and so he'll do well. And it wasn't surprising that his success in Florida made him kind of a TV arena player quickly, because you see the marketability,
Sure.
you see the great smile and a great personality, and this isn't a guy that's ever going to embarrass you, and has a great game. And so you look at that and you're like, okay, this is a package. We want him to do well because he's a nice kid and you want him to do well, but very marketable. And so a lot of opportunity for him if he keeps.
Let me tell you something about Latin American families, Mike. Okay, you ain't never too old to get your ass whooped, and you better not embarrass the family. That's like rule number 1 and rule 1A. So going out there and representing the way that he did is all class. And to be honest with you, like if it wasn't for the process that he's going through right now in terms of his green card and him being a little handcuffed right now from his travel, I think given his like what Huang is to that Asian market, right, and to the Vietnamese market, and in terms of eyes, I think he can be that for the Latin American community. And I would for sure give him a hard look for Team Rest of the World, and not just like you think about the marketability side, but at the same time, he's got the game that can back that up as well. Where like he's not just a flash in the pan. So we'll see what comes of it. Time will tell. But on the note of the Reyes Cup, Mike, and the Team Rest of the World, yesterday there was some Matchroom news, and you were filming BD Live, which was a great, fun interview, by the way. But I want to transition over, if we can, into that announcement. And let me see if I can bring up here my my other screen, Mike. Like I said to start the show, I was surprised that Penoza was not announced as a captain, but we ended up with 2 other guys instead.
Previously,
they were all right, I guess.
We had a show earlier, and I said I would be surprised if it was Boosty and JJ. And it makes sense. It's an easy fit for Matchroom, and so and they're both great, ambassadors and captains, and it's a good fit. So it's fine. I think it was a good move, not overly surprising. And I mean, let's face it, with the new qualification that they came out with for the Reyes Cup, which kind of tilted a little more towards we're going to kind of handpick this team.
Right.
You know, these are the guys who are probably on the same page with them on where to go with this as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, like
So,
they're team players in that aspect for sure, but they're also very, very well seasoned. Obviously, Double J's got more of a finger on the pulse because he lives it, he breathes it, he commentates on it. You know what I mean? So he sees talent,
yeah,
all year round. And I saw some comments online, like as far as his record with the American team, but I don't necessarily like. I don't necessarily look at it the same way, Mike, because I feel like his hands were a little bit tied when it came to that team for quite a few years, So, but the one thing that I really
and
genuinely
this,
appreciate about JJ is like he's a no bullshit kind of guy. Like he's a sports fan. Like he knows you are graded based off of wins and losses, and he's not one to give you any excuses personally, Mike.
at the same time, and I'm not trying to diminish it at all. This is just the second year of an event that they're building up. So the captaincy last year was 97% ceremonial, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, and this year it'll be somewhat similar, although I expect JJ to take a little more of that leadership captain role than maybe Carl and Efren did last year. Boosty, I'm
Oh,
not sure
it's not even close.
how involved he'll be from that standpoint because Johan Chua kind of ran the show last year from the inside, and I could see that being pretty similar again this year. I don't think Boosie's going to go fire and brimstone in the locker room and play that game. So it's the players who are in the event, and
Yeah.
but good picks.
Yeah, I think like for Bustamante, I get it. I feel like he's part for the show. Because like you mentioned, and I'll agree with you 100% in terms of Johan. And if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. In my opinion, anyway, when it came to Johan, and if ever there was a guy who took pride into being that player captain
Yeah,
and really embracing all that is, you know what I mean,
yeah,
and still giving it all out there, Johan embodies that. You know what I mean? And that was one thing from last year that I was surprised about, but only in the sense that like you're not supposed to be like that as one of the youngest kids in that crowd, especially when you look over to
yeah,
your left and there's Efren, and you look over to your right and there's Carlo Beato. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
so for him to kind of like step up in that role and just take it on, and really did an outstanding job because his moves were awesome in that pseudo captain spot. Double J, I feel like, and we'll see as the team kind of unfolds, but I think he'll have his hands full, Mike. I think he'll have a real big challenge. He's got a great opportunity here, but I do feel like he's got a really big challenge trying to compete with the Asians, in my opinion.
got a big he's got a big challenge ahead of him. And I don't know if you want to get into players and
Oh, well, why not,
team,
Mike? We're already here.
how the team's going to be put together. You know, and I'm not bashing any players, but Jay is going to be a little more
For
handcuffed
sure.
than Boosty in terms of his player makeup,
And
based on what we think
ele-
is going to happen.
el-
You and I have talked about this,
yeah.
so
Elaborate on that for me if you can, Mike.
well, you and I are, in full agreement at this point that we believe Shane will not be eligible to be, available for JJ to pick.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay, but they will want another American player, right?
Right.
Because they've got Federer, who's quasi-American and was supposed to be Team USA's kind of turn, that type of thing. So we both, I think, agree that we think Sky is going to be one of the picks for Team Rest of the World. Okay. We also know that Jason will be on Team Rest of the World. I don't think either one of us think that's even remotely not possible.
Well,
Agree?
we saw that from from the onset when it came to the announcement of this Rest of the World team, and we saw Shane part of that same press release as well. And I was kind of surprised. And back then in June and July, whenever it was, I would have bet a lot of money that I thought Shane was going to be on that team. Now, whenever things came out that he wasn't going to
Yeah.
play Hanoi and the Philippines, and you know how it is, Mike, out there, in the matchroom camp, if you're not going to play, you're not going to get an opportunity. So there you go, and
Right.
so I, like you and like we talked about before, I do not expect Shane to be on that team. I do expect Shaw to be on that team. But Jason, like, here's the thing when it comes to those two, when it comes to Jason and Sky, because like for Jason, I kind of look at him a little bit differently. Now I know neither one of them had the success this year that you would imagine for a team like that, right? And if you're looking just based off of merit, but like you got to give a little bit of credit in that, like they've still won. You know what I mean? Like as far as the Europeans go. And I know last year against the Asians wasn't the best outcome, but like Jason's had a pretty stellar performance on that stage. So that part I
Yeah,
can
he
kind of
plays. Listen, he plays well. He plays well in
Yeah.
that event, no doubt about it. But if you're talking about, um, JJ walking in there with the 5 players who are in the best form from the rest of the world, he
he will
won't have
not.
that.
He absolutely 100% will not.
So
Yeah.
Whereas in Team Asia, it will be pretty damn close.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, because the only one you're going to think about, like you're going to think that should he or shouldn't he be there
Oh,
is Huang, but then I can go back and watch the
right.
video from last year and say, you know what? And oh, by the way, he's playing pretty good today, and he's playing pretty good yesterday, and he's
That's what I
playing pretty
mean.
good lately too.
Long is on better form right now today this
Yep.
year than Jason or
Yep.
Sky. So he's not a big setback.
But
for
he
that
would be the
team.
only
And then the other
question
4
mark
players
as
on
far as that Asian team who we expect to be on
Correct.
there, because I,
Correct.
like you, I expect to be the same 5
Well,
guys,
yeah.
with the exception of maybe Ko Pin Yi for Ko Ping Chung, but that's flip a coin there. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah, I would think maybe Ko Ping Yi for Ko Ping Chung, because Ko Ping Yi is performed better in the WNT
Yeah.
events, whereas Ko Ping Chung has won the World 10 Ball, which is not going to give
I
him
didn't even
any
know Ko Ping
points
Yi was ahead of Ko
in
Ping Chung in rankings because my eyes tell me that Ko Ping Chung has had a better season, And so, but then you look at
Yeah,
rankings and it's a little bit different.
but it's all relative to whose season you
Yeah.
played well in, right? So, and I understand it. I don't have a problem with that. So if that's the case, then yeah, I would kind of expect Team Asia to be. I would not be surprised if it's the same 5 guys as last year. Huge advantage for them going into this, if that's the case, and Team Rest of the World is a new configuration and doesn't have necessarily the top 5 informed guys available.
Yeah, like Nick says there in the comment, this is the team that with the except I don't know about Kachi. Kachi's who I would put. I don't know if we're gonna see him on there, but that's the 5 that I expect to see out there in Manila. And here's the other thing about it, because we saw Sky sharing Reyes Cup posts and things like that. Like it's not.
You're talking about Claudio Cacci, right?
No, he's talking about big boy. He's talking about big, big man, big
Big
Kachi.
Cacci?
Yeah, I'm assuming anyway. That's who I'd be talking about. I mean, like again, just think. And here's the deal: like if you're gonna weigh the Jason and the Sky factor when it comes to that, what they can bring to that atmosphere and arena, right? That social media storyline of Big Kachi going into Manila is as compelling for me, and I think it'll fire up some fans out there as well, Mike. So that's where I would lean on Big
Well,
Brother
yeah,
a
of
little bit
course.
more.
If you want to set a match to gasoline,
Hell
you
yeah.
bring an Eklund. So that would be. I don't know where Eklund stands in the rankings, but
well, and he'll also, by the way, he'll also be in Indonesia next week as well. So there's that, and we all know what we all know those unwritten rules for in order to play in the the Reyes Cup. Excuse me, Mike.
Well, there's no doubt that Claudio's been in better form this year than Eklund.
Well, I mean, look, the World Championship run is gonna give him a huge bump in terms of like money earned. You know what I mean? But like, I think
I'm not talking about points. I'm just talking about if you do the eye test on the
yeah. I would agree. There's still
what space.
Yeah, no, I do agree there as well. And that's where how brutal it is to make that team comes into play. And so
Right.
I think it's a big, massive misstep to not include Filler and Shane on that team. And I want to go on the record in saying that, Mike, because I feel like from a storyline standpoint, from the years that they've had, what they can bring to that environment and that arena, and what they can do to boost that team, I feel like it's a huge
I
just pile
I
on the
think
face.
I think Josh and Shane should play a 3-day race to 120 on the same
As a
days.
big fuck you to them. I love that idea, Mike. Now we're talking, Mike. This is what I need. I need more like Petty Panozzo in my life. That's what I need, because with ideas like that, this is where we're gonna like start hitting gold here, Mike. I agree with you. I said that would be pretty fucking epic to have that overshadow those because I get and by the way, put it for free on Facebook. Donations go to the players. Let's really milk it out and get all the eyes on them for as long as possible. Look,
And
it's
let's have some fun.
like
Let's have some fun with it.
there's a need for stars and box office and draws. You know what I mean in the pool world, and this is why you've held on to storylines for as long as you have. And
Well, that's why if you match them, you're going to consider Big Kachi and you're going to consider Juan, because you're looking for stars and you're looking for eyes. Okay, so if you don't have Filler and you don't have Shane, but you have Kachi and you have Juan, it's a pretty good trade-off if you're looking for visibility.
yeah, no, 100%. I mean, like for what Kachi would do to that Filipino market in terms of like the raw responses, you know what I mean? Like that's what I want to see. And like, look, for I don't know what it was like watching from the house. Okay, me and you were there in Manila last year. There were many times in there where the people that were there, it was cool, but like there wasn't a ton of people there for X, Y, and Z reason. But
So
like,
it's going to be different.
I think it will be different as well. But I think like, listen, we need as many like matches and gasolines coming together for the pool world as we can. And those guys also
Yeah.
those guys also have experience in that field. They play good, and listen, they can fold and they can stand pretty fucking tall in their own right, And so you want to have that.
Yeah, no, I would actually expect if he got picked, Big Kachi to play well this year if
Oh
he's
yeah,
in the Reyes
yeah.
Cup. Last year it was lackadaisical,
It
disinterested,
really was. Yeah.
caught off guard.
For all the
He was
Europeans, for that matter,
terrible.
Mike, it wasn't just Kachi.
And which was not good news for the U.S. because you saw Kachi. I saw him on his way out the door, and he said, "I'm not going to miss a ball in Florida. This isn't going to happen again." And so that was the wake up call he needed. Now he goes to Manila this year. He doesn't need a wake up call. They're going to meet him at the airport. Yeah. So he'll and I would think, knowing him, his personality and his stuff, he would rise to that occasion.
But how do you judge? But listen, as much as I would want to see it, and I hope that we would, I don't think we're going to see it because he's not going to be in Hanoi, Mike. So how do you justify keeping Shane and Filler out and Kachi in if none of them are going to be playing in Hanoi next week?
Yeah, no, it's that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, if it's one for all for one, then anybody who's not there ain't gonna be there. So
yeah. I mean, look, they're not afraid to set like different precedents at the last minute. You know what I mean? So like that's and we've seen many a twist happen, in that last hour as well, Mike. So that's where it makes me think like, okay, what else is up the sleeve? You know what I mean? But it's not,
you look at it, it's like okay, Big Kachi is not going to be there. Little Kachi isn't he?
I
mean, Little Kachi is not playing in Indonesia.
Okay, well then he would be in Hanoi then for sure. Yeah, I mean, because he's going to be playing somewhere.
For the brothers to go in different directions, there was definitely reasons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
Well, just the same way. It's no coincidence you're seeing some names on some brackets versus others. And I think like and you'll start seeing the hints when it comes to who Matchroom starts pushing in terms of their social media as well, because they'll leave you little nuggets to kind of like chew on and to know that it's coming.
If you're a Matchroom, wouldn't you absolutely announce Huang next week when you're in Hanoi as part of Team Asia.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I mean, talk about getting mileage out of something. Timing, place, everything would be like made to order.
I mean, I think you'll probably see Francisco out there, to make that announcement along with JJ, because they had this like presentation in Hanoi last year.
Didn't they already make the announcement? Didn't they already make the announcement on FSR the second two?
Well, they had posted it on the Matchroom website, but it's since been taken down. But that's who's going to be on there. I mean, in terms of rankings, there's no one else who can overlap them, and I feel like that's part of it.
It's interesting though, because I'm looking at the WNT page right now, and for Team Asia, it still only shows Beato and Gorst.
Yeah, I know, but I think it showed the other ones prior too, because Yap is for sure going to be a lock, and Fran is now going to be a lock. And Matchroom posted.
And I thought that,
this morning.
Like I said, I thought that they had already made that call, but
well,
I guess not.
They did when they changed the rules at the last minute, Mike. You know what I mean? They did without doing it, and then I think they shit the bed from putting it on the website, and one social media got a hold of it, and then they since took it down because they like to get that traction out of it from like a formal post type of vibe. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think look, that's where there'll be a lot of challenges for Double J. But one thing that I really that I learned about Jeremy when it comes to the pride that he takes as far as being a captain. A few years ago, we got a chance, thanks to QTech, to go out to Dallas to see Team USA get ready for the Mosconi Cup before they headed over to overseas. And I really got to see a different side of Jeremy as far as him, like the pride that he takes in competing like the Filipinos and like the Latin American guys. I'm sure the paycheck's going to be good and all, but he doesn't want to fucking lose, Mike, and he's going to be out there to put guys, I don't want to say in check, because I don't know how much time you're going to have to do that. But, and the other part of it is it necessary for like a guy like Jason, when he already knows the recipe on his own right, to have a winning formula? You know what I mean? So, but that's where he'll have a challenge because of the lack of time, and the expectations. And I think you cannot have these last minute manipulated adjustments for the rules and then come out with an 11-3 showing, an 11-5 showing. It can't be flat, Mike, right? You can't have guys out there on their cell phones like it was last year, disinterested and checked out and not engaging in the fans or the rivalry or whatever, And so that's where I think he'll really have his hands full. And I don't know if it's it's a great opportunity, but it's kind of similar to that, whenever he was captain of Team USA, he's kind of handcuffed again. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what comes of it, I suppose.
I'm glad Nick is so confident about Double J's team. Stacked.
What did he say? I didn't even see what he says. Double J will have a stacked
Double J will have a stacked team.
Well, Nick, if you'd like to bet on Team Rest of the World, you let me know, my man. I will gladly accommodate you and take those bums in Asia. Okay, is what I'll do. No, but I think he doesn't. Double J will keep those guys fired up way better than Efren and Carl ever would and ever did last year. You know what I mean? Because they were,
or Francisco.
because they were everybody was there except for the Asians. Everybody was there to be a part of a show. Nobody wanted to go out there and fucking actually compete. And even for the Mosconi Cup, I feel like the pride in which representing is very much missing as of late. You know what I mean? So you gotta figure out some way to light some fire under these guys' asses, Mike. One way or the other.
It won't take long. It won't take long for Reyes Cup to get to that level where it's serious business. I don't even know. I've never heard I haven't heard one word about prize money. I'm assuming this year it's the same as last year, which everybody gets the same.
I heard it's different. I heard it's
not at Mosconi levels.
No. And I know it's not official. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this, but I heard that the prize money will be tiered based off of winning and losing. So obviously both are going to get. Obviously both are going to get paid something, but there will be a pretty decent separation between winning and losing as well. So and again, it's if I'm not supposed to say it, it ain't the first time I piss somebody off.
Yeah, no, my whole point was that I see the Reyes Cup getting to that level of intensity from the player and fan standpoint pretty quickly. I mean, the first year was let's throw it out there. Second year will be okay. You know, you said this, we're going to do this. You know, it'll be a little more combative, and then after, depending on how this year goes, I think next year will be, you know, now the players are going to go into it mad at each other like they do with the Mosconi Cup. And so that's what we're looking
for. I mean, the Asian players are so like proper. You know what I mean? Like they're very respectful. And I'm not saying it in this conversation as like it being complimentary because I want it to be more rivalry. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be more shit talking, but for a lot of those guys, that's just not in their DNA like it is for a guy like Jason. You know, where it's a little bit easier.
They don't need to do the shit talking. They don't need to do the shit talking. There's 9 million Asian fans who, especially Filipino fans, who can do all the talking to get anybody riled up they want to get riled up because they're pros at it.
Look, I'll be watching. I think it will be better than last year, but that's still not saying a whole lot. But I genuinely wish that we would get Josh and Shane on that team, because if you were to throw that in with a Jason, with a Federer, now we're fucking cooking, you know, and then the fifth guy still wouldn't know who to put on the fifth spot still. But
nobody's a bigger Federer fan than me, but you know, Federer isn't any guarantee in these events yet either.
No,
in terms of quality of play.
You could say the same thing for
right?
SPB.
His last two Cups. What's that? 100%.
But
100%.
Here's the deal: we know what the upside is, and that upside is far too great to ignore. You know, and so like, and so that's where I'm sorry, you know, to break anyone's heart, but everyone's not treated equally. You know, now when you get the resume of a Federer or an SVB, then you know exceptions can be made, right? But I do agree with you. I think like when you have, especially because they're both so like introverted, you know, and I know Federer's been a little bit more like outgoing lately, but like I think fundamentally he's not, right? So like he's having to work to be that kind of person, where Jason, it just comes natural. And if you have Jason taking the heat and those other like top A1 stars just going out there,
that's why, you know, Jason's to a certain extent the opposite of the argument you just made for Federer and Shane. Federer and Shane have the resumes that they should be on the team no matter how they play from year to year on the team. Jason doesn't have the points to be on by merit, but you're always going to put him on because in that arena he's an absolute monster.
He's a psychopath in that arena. You know, like he feeds off of energy. You know, he feeds off of the crowd. He feeds off of that environment.
If I were the Filipino fans when Jason played, I wouldn't say a word. I would hit the mute button and pick up a newspaper and read the newspaper.
Boring, right? That's what I would do, right? Just don't even feed him. And you know what? Like as I kind of think about it a little bit, in a sense, it's kind of not surprising that like of all the events, Jason won Hanoi, because he hasn't won a match or major otherwise, right? At least in the modern era. But like it makes sense that like of all of them, that's the one he wins, because that's the one where there's crowd and energy and environment and all those things.
That was his venue.
Yeah. Mike, who would you take? James says, I think it's time for a dinner bet. I think he's right. Who would you take today for winning the Reyes Cup? Would you take Team Rest of the World?
Good luck. We'll see you at dinner.
No, I'm not. Check, please.
You made a mistake offering.
I'm not agreeing to it. Okay, just for the record, I am not going to be agreeing to it. Mike, there was other news over the weekend, and there will continue to be over the weekend as the Peri Open is shaping up. They're down to the final 64 out there, Mike. It is by far the most stacked event of the year, and it was the same last year. How crazy is it to see like an event in a, and I don't even want to say pool room because they got 100 tables in there, literally. Like,
But here's my question for you. I mean, it's a good prize fund, right?
200,000.
Yeah. Is that what it is? 200,000 prize
200,000.
fund for the Perry
Yeah.
Open? Okay. So it's like a Matchroom major. I mean, is it good or bad? I mean, Hanoi is like right after this.
Yeah.
Do you want your horse to battle through this entire thing to the final day, final match, and then go to Hanoi tomorrow?
Well, there's
I
always
mean,
that argument, right? Like you don't want to pick too soon, right? I think
but,
like
if this is a $200,000 tournament, it's the same as Hanoi, right? Isn't Hanoi
yeah,
200?
Hanoi's 200. Yeah, yeah.
So this is Perry Open is 200.
Perry Open's 200K. Yeah, which is more is
Yeah. So
almost double what the Philippines Open will be. I think the Philippines Open's at 125.
I should know this stuff, but what's first place at Perry Open?
I'm thinking 30 off the top of my head. I don't know though. I mean, I'm sure the players.
So it's basically like two WNT majors back to back. So yeah, see, my point would have been if the Hanoi Open was lopsided to this money wise, do you want to kill yourself this week and then go to Hanoi on fumes or having to, play perfect for 14 days? So, but if it's the same prize for both, then
Yeah,
have
it's a
at
good
it.
question, Mike. I think like if you were to ask Matchroom, they'll say like the exposure you get on the Matchroom, stage, blah blah blah, right? But like the reality is it's the venue and the fans, and part of that's because of what Matchroom's created out there in Hanoi, or what make that so more prestigious. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong; like that pool room will be packed, and it will be packed. But it's you can only
Okay.
fit so much into there as you can, Mike. Just given the logistics and space and things like that. So,
It's good to have someone like Jenny Ann on board who we know can like find things on the intranet like immediately, which she did. So 25 grand for first prize for Perry Open, 40 for Hanoi. So same number of players. So the whack up of the money's got to be
so
significantly
15,000
different
difference.
if
That's pretty
the
solid. You know.
well if the total prize money is the same and the field's the same size, where'd the rest of that money go? So is Perry paying deeper?
I'm assuming so.
So either way, it's kind of how much you want to put into a warm up tournament if you're looking at Hanoi as the big event from an energy
Yeah.
and continuing that level of play standard. Not that you want to go 2 and out here, but
No.
it's one of those things where I look at it and I think, if I look whoever's in the final of the Perry Open, I don't expect them to make the finals of the Hanoi.
No, and I think like, even whenever you talk to Federer on BD Live, he mentioned as much like being an odds guy, right? And like the difficulty in repeating it. I know he was talking about one world championship to another, but like in this instance, it's still as applicable, right? Yeah. So it's like
holding the same 2 events in a row is not easy.
No, not at all, Mike. And so that's where there'll be some challenges for sure. And I think it'd be a great question to ask some of these top guys, and like Fran, for instance, and Fran, to his credit, had a great run in Hanoi last year, so as well. Like he made it well through single. And so like, but the fatigue factor is real, and when you're traveling back to back like that and you're competing back to back like that. Now I know the schedule is for it being in a pool room out there in Perry, Mike, it's a little bit easier, so
yeah,
but like because they'll at least plan it out a little bit better. But yeah, I'll be watching all weekend. I've been great
event, though. I mean,
yeah, no, the event's great. I've been watching like when I go to bed, I'll watch a match. When I wake up in the morning, I'll watch a match because of the time zone difference and whatever. But like there's so many stacked matchups. You guys can check out the bracket at digitalpool.com. I'm pretty sure they'll have the TV table at WNT TV as well. The bracket for this round of 64 is pretty brutal, including a Copigny, Jason Shaw matchup as well, Mike. So there'll be some be some good matchups. Yeah, and there's a lot of big names that are already gone out of this tournament as well. Mike, what's your schedule like the rest of the weekend, my man?
I'm kind of around.
All right. Well, if you're around tomorrow, Madeline's saying hello. If you're around tomorrow, let's take a look at the Perry. We'll see where the round of 32 is shaping up, or I guess the round of 16, I guess, where they're left with, and we'll see if we can dive into it a little bit more. All right, my man.
Sounds good.
All right, we appreciate all you guys and gals for hanging out with us. I got to run because I got 2 sick girls here, along with me being sick thanks to this one over here. So, Mike, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We appreciate your time, and Jesus as well. We'll see all you guys a little bit later.